Hello, Dino. How are you today?
Mr. Carey Duke, I'm doing amazing. How are you doing?
Man, I'm awesome. And I got to tell you, I've been ever since you got on the calendar, I've been looking forward to this, right? I've been looking forward to this. Let me tell you why. I have been following you since the early OMG days, and I've seen your progress from this shy kind of, I want to call you a kid, right? I'm gonna call you a kid. Um, who was kind of shy and didn't really want to step out there, and then he started stepping out there, and it's like, holy cow, look at this exponential growth. You grew a following, and I think this is the third product that I've purchased from you.
That's that sounds probably about right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I mean, just let everybody in the audience know, yeah, you are my mentor, you're my coach. I don't
Yes.
necessarily think of you as a kid anymore, but
Hey, well, I haven't grown any taller over the years, so you have that. I still look like a kid from behind.
well, I mean, look, when you see somebody come on the scene and, it's like you don't know who they are and they're kind of shy, and it's like, well, you don't really have an opinion of them. And then you start seeing the work, you start seeing their growth. And that OMG was, that was OMG Machines. And I think that was I want to say 2014. The,
That seems about
late,
right because that was
late
a good 8, 9 years
Yeah,
ago.
late 2013, 2014. That's how long it's been. And so I've known of Dino that entire time frame, and I've seen you evolve from a relatively inexperienced SEO guy to a highly qualified SEO guy, an expert even, and then you morphed into paid ads and became a Facebook expert, and then I did it as well. And then you morphed into a full blown coach for business growth. And following that journey has been fantastic. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Is like, why do some people, this guy, um, take such pride in being bootstrappers and delay and stunt their own growth instead of hiring a mentor or a coach and really accelerating?
Let's
What are
talk
your
about it. Let's
What are
talk
your
about all
thoughts on
that.
that?
I mean, so the OMG Machines was the first mastermind, significant mastermind, several $1,000s that I ever joined. And like you said, at the time, I was 26 years old or so, and I had been bootstrapping, trying to grow my own agency and online business by myself for about 3 years, and it was growing, but slowly.
Mm-hmm.
And I was seeing all these other people online that are like explosive growth, right? And what are they doing? Because I was working hard.
Yeah.
At 26 years old, I was dedicated. Like I gave up my weekends and I would be working on the weekends. I'd pass on going out drinking with the friends and the buddies and everything else. Like, nope, I'm working Saturday night and I also want to wake up, go to the gym early on Sunday, and then I have more work to do, and I can't be hungover. Like, no, I was really
You
working.
believed in the grind.
I was grind culture, and I was young enough to be able to do that, and so I was growing a little bit, little bit. But I would watch these other people just explosive growth, and I wondered what is the secret. And then the more I followed individuals that were growing at a much faster speed than me, the more I heard all of them mention they had some type of coach, mentor, mastermind that was facilitating and helping them in their personal growth and business growth. So that's at that point in time, I was 26 and I swallowed my pride and I said, all right, I think I'm gonna, try out this hiring a business coach or a mentor or joining a mastermind. And I hunted around online to try and find the right one and found one, spoke to a few of I was still skeptical, right? So I spoke to a few of the members and I was like, do you guys like off the record, I will never repeat your name, regardless of what you say. So give me the truth. Is it worth it? And they all said the exact same thing, 100%. You absolutely have to do it. It'll change everything. So I was like, all right, well, that's good enough for me. And it was, I think it was in October, actually, about this time of year when I joined OMG. And And you don't speak to anybody on the phone either. Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
Like it was like just a old school website. There was like misspellings on the page, a lot of screenshots and proof of evidence of results.
Yeah, it
But
was
it wasn't,
webinar driven.
yeah, it wasn't like a fancy click funnels of today where things looked pretty and sharp and mobile friendly. It was like an old school website, and it was like, where we want your $8,000 or whatever it is. And so I remember like being nervous, typing in my information and everything like that. But then I hit
Yes.
submit and it processed. And I was so excited. I ran around my apartment and I was like, all right, it happened. And I like checked my emails. Like, okay, let me make sure I'm like, they saw I joined, or what if this didn't show up somewhere? And but anyways, it was fine that I joined and enrolled, and real fast I saw my agency skyrocket in growth. We went from, I think we were doing like 10K a month, and within 3 or 4 months we were at 30K a month. It was a massive lifestyle change as well. And so ever since, I'm like, I'm all in on personal development, business mentors, and growth. So
Can I share my OMG story?
please do. Yeah.
Because we must have been on the same webinar, because it was about the same time frame, right? And I joined. It's like, oh man, this is the biggest amount of money I've ever paid for something intangible like this, right? I mean, we're talking a car, you know. It was a lot of money.
Yeah.
And because of that membership though, and that coaching and the people that were in there, I was able to close a deal with a client that was the largest check I'd ever received. It was 18 grand.
Yes.
One check. It was $100,000 contract. And then they encouraged me to actually do some coaching. And so I coached 100 people on a very specific lead gen process that led me to have my first $30,000 months.
Yes.
And it's like, oh. However, the old story of the ups and downs of entrepreneurship, I got lazy, right? I didn't follow that success up like you did, and continue with the growth. It was like, oh, this is great. And then
the sustainability and consistency is the hardest part of entrepreneurship. Yep. And it's like, water a little stream can cut through a mountain with consistently. And you're like, how does water break through a mountain of rock? And it does so because it's there every single day, and slow and steady. And before, 10 years later, the stream's cut, a pathway through this entire mountain. It's that consistency. It compounds. But it's the toughest thing. And I've learned a lot, because one of my other mentors from 3 years ago taught me about seasonality of business. And it changed my entire way I look at business now. And in terms of big proponent of consistency, but I literally operate my business now based on seasons. We have 2 growth seasons a year, and we have 2 systemizing seasons per year, where we're not looking to grow as much. We're looking to reorganize and structure the machine so that it's prepared for yet another growth season. Because what can happen is, if you have growth, things break and implode and you burn out, and there's just too many fires going on, because you just took your business from here to here, and it every level requires almost a little bit of a different structure, or more team members, or more processes, or you're juggling more balls in the air. And so I've learned to do growth season, where we push super hard, and then, okay, we have a bunch of new clients. Let's systemize, reorganize, restructure. Do we need to hire? And then also, I need to slow down a little. So in terms of like overstretching what I can do energetically and so forth.
I like that a lot. The ability to step back, take a breath, and assess, right? And make sure nothing is broken, so that you can then take another step forward. I like that.
It fits well. And then it was introduced to me, because this isn't my own strategy or philosophy, I should. But it really resonated, right? In terms of, you look at like nature, and is nature consistent? It is. Every single year we have summer, winter, fall, spring. It's consistent in that, but it's also consistent in that cyclical nature, in that it's not summer, 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 summer. It goes through the different seasons. And so I was introduced to that concept for growing your business in that manner, and that, hey, you're consistent all year round. You're still operating and running your business, but you should do these different seasons like this for your own well-being, and then also to have long-term longevity, decades and decades and decades of, running your business per se.
Sustainability.
Yeah, long-term sustainability. So I found that I liked that concept. So I was like, all right, and I tried it out. So we did that for a year. We would increase advertising spend, client enrollment in one season, right? And almost break the machine, a bunch of new clients on board, a bunch of new things happening. And then we would dial back down advertising and lead gen a little bit, and still enroll some new clients. We didn't want to completely cut off the valve, or turn off the valve, I should say, but we wanted to slow down a little bit. And that's normally when I would take a vacation, as well as in that systemizing season there.
You're allowed to take vacations?
As an entrepreneur, you were allowed to take vacations. It's actually one of the healthiest things you could do. So we had just finished a growth season, and I was losing it. Like in terms of, I might have been doing 60-hour weeks, or it was something in that range. I was definitely working the weekends. We had a bunch of new clients on board, and there was just so much for me to do in terms of fulfillment. So I'm working, and I look up for a moment and I go, this is not going to be sustainable. Me working this many hours, no social life, like anything. I was like, this cannot continue. So, but I couldn't find the solution to that. What do you do when your business has grown too much, too fast? And I decided to go and to actually take a 5-day vacation. And slowing down for a moment can actually be one of the healthiest things for. But I went on vacation where I was not doing busy work, and actually gave my brain space to try and solve this little riddle, which is, what do you do when you have too many clients and not enough of you? And can you guess what the solution was? It wasn't anything groundbreaking.
Charge more?
Or it was just me a strategic hire, because we had a bunch of extra new revenue, cash flow, and clients. I'm out of time. I'm trying to figure out how to manage this amount of new clientele. But it was when I was on vacation, I was like, oh, you just hire. But I was so busy in the day-to-day, I hadn't seen that yet, right? So it's
right.
Say it's important to slow down at times, important to have the different seasons. At least
how do you know if or how would you suggest somebody figure out how to find a mentor? When are you ready? When should somebody start thinking, oh, I need this this extra advice in my life?
Oh, and I think we cut out for a second there. Okay, there you go. So best way to find a mentor.
Yeah. How do you know when you're ready to bring on that extra advice?
So this is the fascinating paradigm of perhaps life, or at least we'll just say, right? The mistake I made when I was younger was, I'm going to grow my business to this level. Then I will have extra money for which I can hire a mentor to continue my growth.
Mm-hmm.
The catch-22 there is that if you knew how to grow your business on your own and get more clients on your own, or raise your prices on your own, you would do so on your own. And maybe you don't need a business mentor at that level. But so that's the catch-22. I will hire a mentor once I have clients. We would have the clients and the cash flow if we knew how to do it on our own. So really the best time to hire a business mentor is as soon as possible. so that you get there fast enough. And it can be uncomfortable because you might not have the clients and revenue yet that you want. That would make an investment feel safe. But if the investment felt super safe, you wouldn't be growing very much.
So what I'm hearing you say, Dino,
I think time to.
We have a little bit of an internet issue here. What I'm hearing you say though is that if you hire an advisor, a mentor, a coach before you really think you need one, it might be able to accelerate your progress, accelerate your success, and instill confidence.
Correct. Yep. And it's and the metaphor I like to always use here, right, is, I mean, what would happen, Carrie, if you went into the dentist and they were there drilling on your teeth and they had a little mishap and it was super painful for you, and you find out after the fact that this dentist did not go to dental school. Instead, this dentist said, I'm going to bring you on board as a client. I'm going to drill on your teeth. You're going to pay me a bunch of money for this root canal. And I'm doing this, Carrie, so I have the money to go to dental school, to learn the skill set, to be a proper dentist. It would be backwards, right? There's a reason the most successful individuals in corporate America, so to speak, dentists, attorneys, doctors, lawyers, right? They go first in debt and they go to medical school to gain all of their expertise so that they can be very successful and valued after the fact, right? And so I think oftentimes we get that backwards in the entrepreneurial space. We don't really have, like, society says you cannot be a practicing dentist unless you have graduated dental school. But in entrepreneurship, there's no rules like that. So we try and figure it out ourselves, spin our wheels, yourself the right mentor, right? The faster you will grow. And that's always been my experience as well.
I 100% am in line with that thought process. 100%. All right. And I mean, not only personal experience, but just seeing it everywhere. I mean, the people who accelerate the fastest always seem to have something behind them. It's not just their own brain power. It's not just their own hustle. It's not just their own growth. They have somebody who's pushing them to do different, to do better. I mean, Dan Kennedy was famous for saying that your biggest growth as a business is going to come from outside of your industry, right? So if you're in an industry and you're feeling stuck, you can't get through, how do you get that outside knowledge?
Right.
I mean, you almost have to hire it, don't you?
You have to hire, you have to find somebody who has a different frame. I mean, even professional athletes have coaches and mentors. They understand the value of that. Nutrition, who work with them, they hire experts in so many areas.
Yeah, let's talk about professional athletes and their coaches for a second, because they're a clear example of, you don't have to have done that thing. You don't have to have done that thing in order to be able to coach that thing, right? So Michael Jordan may have a coach that is a mindset coach. That doesn't mean he was a professional basketball player in order to be able to coach Michael Jordan, right? It just meant that he had the ability to help him with his mindset. And I think there's this thing where people like, well, I want a coach that's in my industry. What's that got to do with it, right? The coaching and the breakthroughs don't necessarily come from people who already know how to do what if you're, in my case, if you're a bookkeeper and you hire a coach who was a bookkeeper or successful bookkeeper, well, they're going to be able to tell you all the things that a successful bookkeeper does, but that's not necessarily what you need in order to break through.
Right. You bring a whole plethora of decades of internet marketing experience that another bookkeeper would not have. So they are branching out, and their ability to grow by having your expertise come in on the marketing and lead generation front to introduce them to opportunities that they don't even know exist. Like, and that's what's so fascinating about mentorship, right? And this is even with children and their parents or anything else. It is a different viewpoint and angle that we don't even know what exists, because what we don't know exists, we don't even know that that's an opportunity.
Exactly. Do you remember the Secretary of Defense, Rumsfeld? You remember him from the George Bush years?
A little bit, but I never dive much into. I don't watch much T or follow the name. Sounds familiar. I've heard the name.
Okay. So the thing that he said that is so true is that, it's like you don't know what you don't know. You don't even know what it's like he said it in three parts. I'm gonna mess this up terribly. He says that you have the known known, you have the unknown known, and then you have the unknown unknown.
Yeah.
You don't even know what you don't know.
Right. You don't even know what you don't know, which is so cool. And then where I think the opportunity exists is for us to become super fascinated by the fact that we don't know everything.
Yeah.
And if we can have that like childlike curiosity of like, ooh, I don't know. I'm really curious what this person's going to show me, because everybody knows things that other people don't know. It's like, what do you know? Tell me something you know. I want to learn. It's fascinating, but there's a whole world of opportunity out there. It's, can we find somebody who knows something that we don't, that would provide us an unfair opportunity in our business?
Yeah.
And if we
All right.
if we were to put two businesses side by side, if one person has that mentality, I'm going to go learn as much as I can about things I don't know anything about, so I can find the opportunity. If that's business owner A and you have business owner B, it's just like, nope, I'm going to continue to do the same day in, day out of what I always have done. Who's going to win in a forever changing market environment when one has growth mindset and the other one's like, I'm just going to stay here and do what I've always done?
Yeah, fantastic point. I mean, not only does your knowledge need to change, but the market is always changing. And you and I deal in the marketing world, right? So what we know is that over time, the medium changes, right? How we deliver our message changes, but the message doesn't necessarily need to change. We just need to figure out how to get the message in front of the right people.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, things are always changing. And with regulations and governmental interference and the consumer behaviors, I mean, things are always changing. Like, this right here changed my marketing.
Oh yeah.
It changed my marketing 100%. I had to figure out, well, number one, what is a responsive website, right? Do I have to have a mobile only website, or can I do something different that works no matter what? And so that was a big change. And then learning that people would prefer to do everything that they need to do, from search to buying things, and they did it all on. They didn't use a desktop anymore. Come on, man.
Right. I mean, well, speaking of the smartphone, like, is from this desktop computer did 15 years ago, and we all just have it sitting in our hand. And so that kind of leads us to what might be fun to chat about, which is almost like information overload. In that, I think one of the most valuable aspects of hiring a professional, an expert, a mentor, is to know which of the 1,000 opportunities should I put my actual attention and focus into? Because there's so many different social media platforms. There's so many different marketing strategies, channels. but there's only so much time in the day. Where should our focus and attention go to yield the biggest results? That's one of the main reasons I always hire a mentor, is rather than me have to, sift through a million different opportunities, can you give me structure and just say, nope, your focus needs to be here, so that I can let everything else go by the wayside and move forward. And to be honest, I think that might be the number one thing that holds business owners, entrepreneurs back from growth, is simply just not knowing where to allocate their time.
And that takes us right back to confidence and speed.
Yep.
Right? The guy has the answer, and he instills into me the confidence that if I do this thing, I'm going to get there faster. And that's why we have coaches. We want to be better. We want to be faster. We want to have confidence that we're following the right path. And I think that's a great message. Now, having said that, I'm going to ask you a couple questions right here. Okay.
All right.
You ready?
I'm ready. I'm curious what you have. Yeah.
All right. What is something you believed 5 years ago that you had to unlearn to get where you are now?
I've had to unlearn. Wow, what a powerful question. I've had to unlearn quite a lot. Let me think of what would really stand out. I mean, one thing that I had to, I will just say this, like a big breakthrough for me was realizing that there at no point in time was somebody going to pop out of a bush and say you are qualified enough to do the things that you want to do inside of your business. So whether that would be raising your prices, whether that would be introducing a new marketing channel, whether that would be launching a YouTube channel or going on Instagram or TikTok or any of these things. So I had to unlearn that, because I used to have the perception that you need to be an influencer to be on YouTube. And it didn't make any sense actually when you break it down, because everybody starts from zero. So actually the way you become an influencer is you get on YouTube with 0 followers, and you start adding value to the market. But I couldn't wrap my head around that for a long time. I thought, nope, I don't need to be on those channels, or I'm not allowed to be on those channels or do these certain things because I'm not an influencer. And so I had to redo my thinking there. I would say it was kind of a unlearning lesson per se. So that's
Are you expert enough?
Are you expert enough? Right. That's a forever going thing there. Are you expert enough?
All right. What's something important to your daily routine you wish you had started sooner?
Okay. Well, a couple things are super important to my daily routine, but the biggest one, and I think a lot of people have this answer, is waking up early. I wish I would have learned that much earlier on. Go to bed early, wake up early. It's different for everybody. Some people operate better in the evenings and are night owls and things of that nature. But for me, I feel the best when I go to bed early and I wake up at like 4 a.m. And the amount of work that I can get done before 8 a.m. is substantial. It's probably a similar output of what most people do through their entire day, but I have it done by 8 a.m. And
Wow.
that helps me a lot with, I think there's a whole compounding effect to that level of productivity. In that, oftentimes we lose track of our day. We get emails we weren't expecting that require our attention. We get phone calls we weren't expecting that take up some of our time. We have things pop up in our personal lives we need to go take care of. So sometimes the day can get away from us, but if you can get your most important task done before the day should even be starting, then I think you set yourself up, to do well.
Awesome. I did not know that about you. 4 a.m.
So the pain is getting going to bed early enough to wake up early enough.
Yeah. All right. So last question. What is something most people think is important that I can just skip entirely?
something most people think is unimportant that they can skip
No,
entirely?
they think it is important, but you're recommending they just skip it entirely.
Okay, they think is important. Skip entirely.
And there's that
Uh,
deer in the headlight look.
yeah, you're making me think. These are great questions. Wow. What do people think is important that they can completely skip? I would probably say scrolling social media.
Okay.
I think a lot of people think that it's important to catch up with others or to be in the know of what others are doing, and that somehow it's going to dramatically improve their life. Um, and studies and research and everything else kind of tells us the opposite. You will be happier, more fulfilled if you are skipping the scrolling on social media. The one thing I will say is that social media can be a super powerful marketing tool. But the way I look at it is try and use it to be a producer of content rather than a consumer of content.
I've
So I
heard
would
that
say
before.
if you or even just decrease your find yourself much happier and
Little bit of a break in the internet there. Yeah, I've heard that message before. Be a producer of content and not a consumer.
it
Eh,
changes your mentality. Social media doing that fashion.
Yes, and since our audience is mostly going to be comprised of business owners, that's a good thing to skip. Don't be wasting your time consuming as much as you are just producing content. The right content in the right channel.
And one more thing that I'll add to that on that topic, scene content, is don't think it needs to be perfect or polished or anything else. Authenticity really does win. It goes a long way. So I know that the influencers have really nicely edited videos and special effects, and they're on stage and all these things. You can still deliver a really powerful message with just recording yourself on your phone. So I would say, even if you fumble over your words, get those skip over the perfection element of it look super nice and go with the efficient approach to just getting it out there.
Yeah. All right. So Dino, where can people find you? What are you doing right now? This is to date. This is October 2022. What's going on, and where can people find you?
I appreciate that, Carrie. Yeah, so we run a mastermind, seven-figure visionary. If you're a coach or consultant, that might be a cool thing to check out. But otherwise, if you guys want free resources, video trainings, a library of PDFs, cheat sheets, all these different things to help your business, you can go to coachinglaunch.com. We have a bunch of free material for you over there. Or otherwise, you can just type in Dino into YouTube. We have some good videos over there for you as well.
All right, Dino, I need you to say that website one more time. There was an internet connection problem.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So for free resources, downloads, video trainings, PDF cheat sheets, all these different things to help you grow your business, you can go to coachinglaunch.com and you'll be able to find you'll be able to find a bunch of free resources. So coachinglaunch.com, or if you're on YouTube, you can type in my name, Dino Gomez, and find a bunch of content as well.
Okay, I will put both of those links in the description.
Appreciate it. Excellent.
Dino, this has been fantastic. Getting a little deeper insight into your psyche and what makes you operate. This has been fantastic.
Carrie, my man, thank you so much for having me. Always fun to catch up. And hopefully I get to come back, but thanks so much again for having me.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
All right, you as well. Thank you.